Mickey Spillane's back in print, and we got him. He's coming up next on Carolina People. Good morning. Welcome to Carolina People. This morning we're at the Myrtle Beach Herald. We're visiting with a writer, Mickey Spillane. Good morning, Mickey.
Good morning, and I'm glad you called me a writer. Not an author, because I am not an author.
What are you talking about? You're an author.
No, an author is different from a writer. A writer makes money. You know what an author was? You had Churchill, you have Eisenhower. They were writing about the war. The only thing they knew about was that particular part of life. Man, I write about anything where I make a buck from it.
Anything?
Almost anything.
Now, what's something you wouldn't write about?
Well, I don't. People got an idea that I was a sexy type of writer. I wasn't. I used situations that were a little outlandish sometimes. My endings always were kind of wild. But, you know, here's what people don't understand about writing. And if anybody's listening and wants to be a writer, listen to what I'm going to tell you. Nobody reads a book to get to the middle, do they?
No, that's right.
They read a book to get to the end. Now, that the end is so sensational that they, oh, it's just great. They can't wait till they run out and buy a book by the same writer, see?
Right.
And my intention is to drive people to the book stands. I don't care about me. I know I can write, so I'm not going to worry about my own personal sales. But I like to see all the writers who are out there trying to earn a buck by writing make some money out of it.
Absolutely. So I guess on the first page, you're just trying to get them in?
Nah, you're already there. I write the ending first. That's the best part of the book. Then I work up to the ending, see?
You write the ending first?
Sure. I remember Night of Jury when I wrote the ending where Mike kills the beautiful doll, you know? And she says, "How could you?" And he says, "It was easy." You know? The end, there's nothing after that, is there? It was easy, man. But some of the funny things that happen with the endings you write, people look at you and they think sometimes I'm 10 feet tall, I got a gun in both pockets. You know, that's not the way I live. I write like that.
Is it difficult to not live one way and write an entirely different way? I mean, or to live
with my wife, you get all kinds of ideas. We've been married 20 years, so I can talk about it.
Yes, that's right. And hopefully we can get Jane in sometime so she can talk about you.
That's her name. This is my wife. What's her name?
This is my wife. What's her name? Oh, come on.
Oh, I'm kidding.
You and Jane have been happily married 20 years.
Well, you know, she's my child bride. She used to chase me around when she was on her little tricycle.
Oh, come on.
Go back 20 years. Now, how old is she? I forget how old she is.
She's what, 34? 40?
Now?
Well,
I don't know.
I mean, flattery's important, Mickey. I got to work on it. Yeah, we got to get her in sometime.
She's a young kid. She's my child bride, you know.
And what prompted you to get a child bride? We were thinking about that the other day.
I couldn't get her away from me. She chased me all over the place. She walked down past my place a dozen times looking for me. And I said, "Jane," she's, "Hi, McGee." You know, I don't know. All of a sudden I'm saying I do. How do I get to I do what? You know.
That would be kind of tough to get out of that. You know,
well, she moved into my house with her two daughters and a cat. Their cat followed them all the way down. Cat moved into the house, you know. Now we got 6 cats. So
oh, come on.
Oh, hey, that's only the beginning. Did I catch the Dickens yesterday? I went out, and the wind blew the door open, and all the cats got outside. Not all of them, 3 got out. And I can hear, I'm turning down in Murrells, and I'm turning down the like it is. Whoop, 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 whoop. And it was Jane outside yelling, "Here, pussy, here, whoa, whoa," yelling. And I come back, and man, I thought she was going to shoot me, because the wind blew the door open. I didn't leave it open. She says I did.
She was blaming on you anyway, that's right.
Boy. Anyway, we found the one little cat that she thinks so much of, and it got underneath a shed in the back. We got it out, and now she's happy again, see?
With all these cats around, how do you write, Mickey?
Oh, that's easy. I got one on this lap here, one on my shoulder here, and they're nice.
One on your head. Doesn't mess your hair up too much, yeah.
They're not people. They don't have no trouble with the cats.
Right. So the cats sleep with you all?
Oh, gee. You know, they come into bed. The cats don't come into bed nice and easy. They go way back there, they take a run, they jump, and they're right in your stomach.
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've come in on my mom many times when she's asleep, and the cat's right up on her chest.
How many she got?
Oh, they just have 2.
Oh, that's nothing.
Yeah, that is nothing.
I
They live in a small
the
apartment.
house here yesterday, and they had 9. But I felt very much at home. You know, between 6 and 9, there's only 3 difference there.
Right, that's right.
Oh, boy.
What was that like having young girls in the house, Mickey, when you were a little later? And you said Jane and her 2 daughters. What was that like having young girls around and getting active in their lives?
Let me tell you what happens when you bring somebody new into the house with the 2 girls. Now, I used to cook a lot. See? I'm an old military guy. I like big breakfast. And I brought the girls come down for the first time. They're going to go to school, so and I come down and eat breakfast.
Right.
So I had all this stuff going. I see them. They look down and they kind of tell us maybe they just don't like the way I cooked it. They're picking at their food. And a couple of days later, I said to them, well, what would you like for breakfast? Well, pancakes, French toast, bacon and eggs, you know. And they said, we don't eat breakfast.
We don't eat breakfast?
Hey, it's the first time they've had breakfast in years. I said to James, what don't you feed your kids, for pity's sake? They don't eat breakfast. I said, well, heck with them. Because I get up early anyway, you know. I'm in bed at 9:30, so I can never get into trouble.
You're in bed at 9:30,
Yeah, man,
so you can get up
tired.
early. Is that because you live in Murrells Inlet?
No, I've always gotten up early.
Really?
You know, sure. All through the military, I had no problem with getting up. Nobody ever had to wake me up. That was a nice life. I like the military part.
Is that right?
If I was a pilot, a fighter pilot, and all that sort of stuff.
You went in the Air Force.
Yeah, man. I told anything I wanted to do.
Did you think about other services, or you knew you wanted to be a pilot?
I knew I wanted to be a pilot. So, you know, when you get into the military, there's only one thing people say, wherever you've been, wherever you've been, you never, ever have a choice except once in your life. You never volunteer for anything except once. You volunteer to go to the Army, the Navy, the Marines, the Air Force. And after that, you go where they send you. That's
Right.
it. You don't have anything to say about it.
So after you get in, you're
You
stuck.
go away.
I mean, you do anything anything they say.
Yeah, that's true. You don't have any choice. You say, yes, sir.
Wow, Mickey.
But those were good years. I never had anything against the military. Of course, you know, after you look back, it was a different time. It was a different time zone during the war years.
Uh-huh.
And what surprises me is that when I call up somebody, I used to be in the old squadron, you know, and his wife will say, oh, he's been dead for 3 years. I said, what? And, you know, in 4 years, I'm going to be 90 years old.
Oh, come on.
90, hey.
That is bull. Tell us the truth.
No, I was born before World War I ended. I was born in 1918, so figure it out. So, I did it again.
Oh, I know. That's right. Our director will
I'm
get
going to
tough.
sit on my hands.
Well, I'll
Is that
start
okay?
doing it
Don't
too.
look at me, folks. Okay.
No, that's right. Well, we've got these swivel chairs, which kind of stinks because it makes a duff
Yeah,
on
I
the
know.
camera guy.
Well,
Yeah.
you're used to sitting still. I'm not. I'm always chasing Jane around the house.
And these 6 cats.
Oh, the cats aren't the tough one. She's the tough one.
Jane
Oh, man.
Spillane's the tough one.
People are nothing in her eyes. Only bushy cats are the thing.
Oh, my God. That's crazy.
She tolerates me, but not too badly. All right, see. However,
Yeah.
say something. Ask me a question.
No, that's great. Yeah, Mickey, tell us about, you didn't grow up in Murrells Inlet, did you? Where'd you grow
No,
up?
I grew up in Elizabeth, New Jersey, until I moved to New York, and the worst time I ever had was when I was in my last year of high school.
Mm-hmm.
That's an awful time to me when you're busy in sports and all that sort of thing. And I moved to Brooklyn, New York, and today I hate New York City. New York State is a great state, but once you get it, if you're in the city, everybody thinks that New York is the city, and that's a terrible place to be. I don't like it. Crowded, noisy. It's not a happy place either.
But it's a city where a lot of the publishers are located, so you got to go up there.
I don't have to go anywhere.
Oh, come
That's
on.
what I got a guy to do my business for.
I understand you and Jane get up to the Big Apple pretty regularly.
No, we don't. Not if I can help it. I don't want to go there at all. I jump over there. I got a place up in New York State, it's in the foothills of the Adirondacks up there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not in the foothills, it's in the Adirondacks.
Right.
And I got an old building up there right next to my buddy. Now, my buddy George Wilson, who's a great artist, by the way, he and I were wingmates during the war. Now, he lives on this big 600-acre apple farm that belonged to his brother, but he lives in this big house, and right next to him was a carriage house. It was built before the Civil War, but he kept the horse, the wagon, and a wood pile. And I took that little place, I made it into a place. Now it looks like a cross between an early American log cabin and a Swiss chalet.
Wow.
All over the place, skis and snowshoes. I was a good skier once. Now I ski on Chicken Little Hill.
Chicken Little Hill.
Yeah.
Is that a Murrells Inlet? Oh.
That'd be a big hill.
Yeah, that would be. That would be.
I do minimum skiing, but you know, I have as much fun being a spectator sportsman as being an active one.
Now, skiing's pretty dangerous for a guy. Now, you admitted your age for an 85-year-old. That's pretty
Not
tough.
on Chicken Little Hill.
Yeah, yeah. I think I saw at one time, Mickey, you were shot out of a cannon.
Oh, those are the days. Now, this was a practice thing we were doing. You know how a cannon
This was
works?
getting ready for Jane.
Yeah. When they said the big boom, that's eyewash. It's compressed air to shoot you out of that cannon, you know. And the worst thing you can hear is that if you're in that cannon and hearing shh, that means your air is leaking out and you're not going to make the net.
Oh, my God,
It's happened a few times, you know. You got going, where's the net? But now they're pretty good with that. Matter of fact, the old fella, the Zucchini family had that. The old man was a great photographer.
Mm-hmm.
And he had in the body of that cannon, which was an old Greyhound bus, he had a photo lab in there. And this guy could take the darndest pictures you've ever seen.
Huh.
That was fun. I went out with that Ringwood Circus and the Clyde Beatty Circus for a long time. After we made a movie with the circus.
You're kidding.
And it was, the featured people were Clyde Beatty, Pat O'Brien, and me. And elephants and tigers and monkeys and all that sort of stuff.
That would be a movie. Is that still out?
Oh, it's on. Hey,
Someone could track it down.
Hey,
That's right.
That was in '52. We made that picture.
Is that right?
I'll tell you something funny about that. You know when you see a lion cage, here's the floor of the cage, and there's a bar that runs right across here, and then the other bars go this way.
Uh-huh.
That's so the lions can put their feet out and hang them over the side, because you know you can't just keep trying. You know, this way they can be comfortable.
Right.
I was stuck because they're shooting a scene outside there, and I'm looking at this big lion, and he's looking at me. And boy, hey, a lion can give you a kind of a real. And he's got his feet stuck out over the side. And I'm looking, I say, you know, I know he can't lift his foot up like that, and he can't get out any further because his wrist is pretty big. That's as far out he's going to put that thing. I wonder if I could touch his finger. His finger, his big claw sticking out.
Claw.
Hey, the feet are that wide. Gee.
Right.
So anyway, I walked up to that line, looking at me, he didn't say a word. He's looking at me, looking like I dare him. It's almost if he knew what I was going to do. So I went up, and in between his fingers, his claws like that, I put my fingers, and I started to scratch him in here like that. And the lion looked at me and goes, oh, man, hey, this is what I'm not making love to you, dog.
So we know what...
Oh, did that lion look? And don't you try that.
Yeah,
he might not like you.
Right.
But anyway, every time I went by the cage, that lion could run over, stick his feet out like that, you know, and I'd have to scratch his feet. And I was the only one that do that. The Hilo, the elephant boy, was standing there. He says, he's going to get you yet. I'm like, no, he likes me. And I walk over and zoom out with the feet. And Hilo said, you crazy, man.
Wow.
But anyway, one day I went down there with Clyde Beatty, and I'm walking by, and he sees a lion come, stick his feet out.
Dying for a little scratching. That's right.
And Clyde says, what's the matter with him? As he wants me to scratch his feet.
He wants a Mickey
He said,
massage.
What? I said, I went over to, he said, are you nuts? He says, that's a wild animal. That animal is not trained. I mean, he's trained, but he's not tame.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, he's my friend.
Mickey. You didn't stay in the circus too long after that. That's right.
Well, it wasn't too long.
He was worried
before
he
the
didn't have
picture
enough
was over, and I often wonder who was the next guy to come up to that. No, I don't know. He didn't do it with her. I was the only one he did it to.
Wow.
That was nice. We had an elephant there that I used to see a woman come in with a straw hat on, and in its mouth it went. It spit out the ribbon. If you had a ribbon on it, someday she's going to have a pin in that hat.
Mm-hmm.
And boy, the roof will be
Mickey's
raised.
magic touch. That's something I didn't read about and try to get ready for this morning's interview. Is Mickey your real name?
No, that's one of my names. I was christened in the Catholic Church and the Protestant churches. I know we're getting close to time, huh?
No. We've got 15 minutes. Take your time. Yeah.
No, Mickey. My dad called me Mickey all my life. I'm not even going to tell you what my first name is.
Oh, come on.
Morrison.
Morrison, really?
Yeah. Well, that was my mother's choice. See. I was called Mickey all my life, so it stays that way. It's a legal name, by the way.
Mickey's your legal name now. Right.
As long as you're not using your name to evade taxes or to get away from the police, it's legal.
Right.
Until you try to get on a doggone airplane these days. Now, I got Frank M. on my driver's license and all that.
Frank M. Is that
Yeah.
in Mary Morrison?
But my ticket says Mickey Spillane.
Right.
And I always have to go there and take my shoes off, take my tie off, get all undressed, you know. And my wife was the one. Jane noticed this one day. She's a real nosy boy. And
Jane's nosy.
Yeah, she found out about that. And so I went down to the Bank of America, and I said, take my picture, and I want an identification card with Mickey Spillane on there, real nice plastic shell. They give us real.
Oh, yeah.
But now when I go to get a ticket for the airlines, I just show them, that says Mickey Spillane. I won't have to take my shoes off anymore.
Right.
Why do they want to look at your feet for?
I guess you could have bombs in your shoes or something.
Well, they had one guy there that tried that. I
Yeah.
wouldn't want to blow my feet off.
That would stink.
But it's strange the way things happen. I'm surprised everybody knows my name. Columbo comes out. I got killed on Columbo on a show.
Mickey got killed on Columbo?
Yeah, every time he shows down there, people call my wife up and say, your husband just got killed. Oh. And she realized it was called another show of Columbo.
It's great to is that tough, Mickey, seeing yourself on TV or knowing that your inspiration for Mike Hammer was so big for so many years and still is?
It's a pleasant thing to know that what you did is well received by the public. I enjoy it. I mean, writing to me is a good way of making a buck to start with. But I can do what I want. My only problem is if anything ever happens to these things, I'm out of business.
Typing, right.
Oh, too forget typing. I use typewriters. I don't use a computer.
You don't use a computer?
No, I can't. I use an electric now, not electronic, an electric typewriter. My typewriters are pretty darn old. But if worse comes to worse, I go back to the old big old Zagata. I still have to stand
that's
it.
right. A mutual buddy of ours, John Maroney, has used the typewriter, still loves it.
I love it too. It makes music. You know, you see the keys going, a beat, you know.
Well, now, if you write your books and have the ending done, I mean, right at the outset, then you can move pretty fast in getting those books out. Well,
I know the business as well as that. People think that writing a book is anybody can write. Sure, they can write, but how are you going to get it sold? You got to go through all production. You got to go through advertising, all the phases of it. So you got to know that. You just don't write. Anybody can write a book.
Mm-hmm.
I tell people that come to me and they say, I want to be a writer. I said, why don't you be a brain surgeon? It's a lot easier.
Oh, come on. You still encourage folks to get into writing.
No, I don't. Because these people, I got so many things that people send me and it's not publishable. They think it's great writing because they did it.
So you do spend some time. Folks will send you stuff. You spend some time giving them some good...
I don't give them good things at all. I haven't got the time to do these things anymore, really, because I'm pretty busy constantly, you know.
Vicki, your first book came out like 55, 56, 57 years ago, I, the Jury.
I came back out in 47. I'm going to tell you something funny now. I just got a small book that two researchers put out. They went back into before World War II when I was in the comic book business. I was a great comic book writer.
Really?
Captain Marvel, Captain America. This back in the old days. But they used to have a 2-page story in a comic book. That was they get them through the mailing privileges so they get 4th-class mail, I think it was. And they went back and they collected as many of my stories as they could. They put it out. Just come out in book form. It's great for kids. And these were written for kids, but it had an adult tone to them as I read it. I said, gee, that wasn't really a kid's, when you said a little kid's book, you know. But here it is out in the book form. I said, well, this is going back a long way.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you ever think that I, the Jury, would be such a big hit?
Yeah. I knew it.
Oh, come on. This was your first book. How would you know?
I was an old-time writer by that time. I'd done many...
Oh, because of the comic books?
No, I'd done a lot of stuff for the magazines, too.
Really?
Yeah. I used to...
You weren't even 30, Mickey. You were in your 20s.
I was writing when I was in junior high school for the Elizabeth Daily Journal, and they didn't know how old I was.
Is that right?
I'll tell you about... See, this was during the time when you had prohibition. And the kids all knew where the bootleggers in Elizabeth, New Jersey hid their booze. You know, we were fooling around the backyards of places and whatnot. And I was writing about these things. Now, I had written, I don't know how many pieces for this. I was getting paid for that, too. Minimum pay, but the guy who had wrote the checks out, you know. He knew how it went, but he wasn't saying anything. But anyway, I started writing then, and I was earning money for it. Not much, but earning them. For a kid in the 8th and 9th grade in junior high school, that wasn't too
What
bad.
were you writing?
I was writing stuff about where the booze was hidden and watching the cops come down and grab it. Get paid off and give it right back again.
How about any inspirations for you early on, Mickey? Who were some writers that you followed? Any folks
I didn't
you're talking about
go
8th and 9th grade?
No, I read a lot. Probably the best guy was the guy who wrote, can't think of his name. He's dead now, so it doesn't matter.
Oh, no.
John Carroll Daly.
John Carroll Daly.
He's a uncle of Tyne Daly in the TV show. You know?
So that would have been an early inspiration, and he was
He
writing.
wasn't an early. He was a guy I liked to read. You know?
Right.
So that mostly was magazine type of detective fiction.
Did you have any early inspirations, Mickey?
Yeah, The Urgent Need of Money.
The urgent need of money.
Yes.
So you say
I was brought up during the Depression times, boy, and I'm glad I did because I don't know a nickel. And but what I have, I own. You know?
Right.
And people, I don't have. I drive a Carolina Cadillac. That's a Ford pickup truck, and I like it.
Yeah. I bet you do. That's right.
I have a Jaguar under my place, beautiful 140 that John Wayne gave me.
Oh, come on. John Wayne gave
Yeah,
you?
actually, it wasn't from him. It was a Hollywood thank you card. I rewrote a movie for him that was a dog, and I was in the picture. I was Ring of Fear, the circus picture. But Duke was always handing out these scripts to actors who can't write. You know, they're actors. They can read, but they can't write. And the picture was a terrible thing. When I saw the rushes on it, I said, oh, boy, that's... And anyway, they called me and they said, do you think you could help us get this bill? I said, certainly. I know what everything was wrong with it. So after 3 days, I rewrote the thing. And I came back to Newburgh, New York, where I was living then. And what was funny... I forget the name, the Big 12 director. He came in, I'd already been there for 3 days, and I'm sitting in Duke's office out there, and he said, how you doing? I said, fine, I'm done. And he thought I was done for the day. And he said, oh, that's nice. He said, how long do you think it'll take before we finish? I said, I told you I'm done. He said, you've only been here 3 days. You know? I said, yeah, but I'm a writer, you know, I'm not one of these Hollywood idiots. So anyway, he got the thing, he started with, wow, you know, and they got everybody together. I'm staying over in the Hollywood, now the Beverly Hills Hotel.
Right.
They paid all the expenses, but I didn't want to be in Hollywood, so I come back to Newburgh, New York, up to my house where it was still snowing and whatnot, you know. And they were looking for me. This is a couple of weeks later, after you got the circus together, all set to start shooting a picture, and I couldn't find me. So he looked at every boarding house, every hospital, every police station, and every bar in Hollywood, and they couldn't. I don't hang around these places. Anyway, so I went over to the Beverly Hills Hotel, one of the bellboys said, oh, he went back home a long time ago. They were very embarrassed. They thought we thought we put you up in the best place. I said, that wasn't it. I had nothing to do in Hollywood. Nothing to do in Hollywood. I said, no. It's the dullest place I've ever seen. You know?
Well, dull compared to Murrells Inlet.
Oh.
Yeah.
Murrells Inlet, boy, hey.
I know.
Something's always happening down
I know. You've been there 5 decades.
Every day the water's waving, the sand is blowing.
That's right.
Cats meow.
That's 6 of them.
Yeah. Ask me another question.
Well, no, I mean that
was
was we got a little time. We were talking about John Wayne and how you got that jag, and that's a big deal.
Poor old Duke had just been divorced, and his money was taken by his ex-wife, and he had nothing going for him. And all his money was tied up in this picture. He was the money man behind the movie.
Right.
And if this picture goes down the drain, he is flat broke. Anyway, the picture turned out to be a big success. I was in the picture, and they already paid me for these things. I got $25,000 for my major role. Wow. Anyway, they got together. They didn't know what to do. They said, I wouldn't take any money. They're going to buy. No, I don't want any money. So they said, let's send them something. Now, I was a hot rodder at that time.
Right.
And out there, we ate lunch all the time, but next to the Jaguar place out on Santa Monica. And he said, hey, oh, God, great idea. He's always looking at those beautiful Jaguars. Let's send him a Jaguar. Now, here's what's funny. A Jaguar at that time cost $5,500.
Wow.
Which was $1,000 more than the best Cadillac on the market. Mm-hmm. You know what you get for $5,500 today? Go to nothing.
Not much.
But I still got my Jaguar. And people always trying to buy it. I
Oh,
would sell
I'm
it.
sure, Mickey. Yeah.
I'm going to give that to my son. You know, it's a two-seater, beautiful job and all that. But I'm married now. What can I do? Jay won't let me run out. I pick up little old ladies. Come with me, little old lady. I'll give you candy.
Oh, yeah, Mickey, I can see you. There's quite a few of those in Murrells Inlet. That's right.
No.
That would
No,
get
my
you in
wife
trouble.
is still young. She's pretty
I
young.
know,
She's a young
James.
kid,
You totally outmarried yourself.
Oh,
You totally outdid it.
She cooks the best TV dinners in the world.
Oh,
Now she's going,
you know,
"What is
James,
that? Oh, man."
James pretty close.
I
at
made you a
hand.
good breakfast this morning, she said.
That's right. That's right. That was early this morning. Can we take a break, Mickey?
Sure, go ahead.
Come back.
You got to go?
We're visiting. I don't have to go. We're visiting with Mickey Spillane. Stay tuned to more Carolina People coming up next. We want to thank Mickey Spillane and his amazing stories for making today's Carolina People so special. You've caught part 1 of our 2-day series with Mickey Spillane. Stay tuned. There's more. Mickey Spillane's back in print, and we got him. He's coming up next on Carolina People. Good morning. Welcome to Carolina People. This morning we're at the Fox 43 studio. We're back with part 2 of Mickey Spillane. Mickey, thanks so much for getting back with us.
I'm glad to be here. I got the same clothes on. Look at that.
Oh my God, you're kidding. How does Jane let you out of the house with the same clothes on? That's amazing. We need to have a talk with her.
I know that.
You know, your wife had a great idea of having a Spillane debate week where we would get you all debating
I
certain
would never
topics.
get my mouth open.
Oh, come on.
Oh, no, you don't know my wife, you know. She's got amazing, she knows 10,000 telephone. No, I'm going to say 1,000. I don't want to go too far.
Right. She knows 1,000 phone numbers.
Yeah, about that. And I don't know any.
Are they all in Marion County?
I don't know where they are.
Yeah.
She never tells me when she's
Right.
on. You know, but she gets on the phone. Forget it.
Yeah.
Boy. But I have seen her. One day she wanted to find. She had a telephone number, but didn't know whose it was.
Right.
So she opens up the phone book and starts going through it. Now, she got all the way to the end before she found the person. She knew the phone number. See?
Right. She could have just dialed the number and found out whoever answered.
I could, but she wanted to know. No, this was
Oh.
a legal situation was going on back
right.
in those days.
Don't do that.
And anyway, so 2 days later, she has another one just like that. I said, "Don't do it that."
Yeah.
I wouldn't sit there and go through all those just to find out somebody. I don't know if she called them or not.
I wonder.
If I know my wife, she called them.
Yeah, she probably did. That's right. Well, would you be up for the debate, Spillane debate week?
Oh no,
Be a little heavy. Yeah.
I'll leave my guns at home for that.
Oh my God, that's right. I think I saw in an interview session, Mickey, one time someone was asking about, it was a great question about, and you followed up with it talking about guns, if there are aspects that are in print, in a book form, that don't show up in the many movies that have been produced for the books. And there was an example of a .38, something hitting a wall.
Oh, that
Remember
was the
that?
first book, the first picture they made of with Biff Elliott, and they denied a jury. That was terrible because you know, people involved with making movies, they only got half a head. Now here is the picture that everybody visualizes of Mike Hammer. He's a big guy, you know,
Right.
carries a .45. Now, poor Biff Elliott was a guy, he was my size. I'm 5'8", big 5'8". I lost, who would know? I used to be 5'10", I think. Anyway, he's 5'8". He had a Boston accent. He was left-handed. And with his Boston accent, and then he shoots, and takes a .38 out and shoots at a wall. The guy shot at a wall. The bullet falls down. Instead of that thing be flattened and being that big, it was a perfect slug, just like they took it out of the shell and laid it down, you know. And Biff picks it up and says, a .38. And I'm sitting back there and says, oh, gee, who wrote this thing? And I said, Biff, why'd you let him do that to you? He says, well, I'm just the actor.
Yeah.
You got a voice, speak up. But that was the first time I had seen stupidity come into anything like that. I always remember Sir Cedric Hardwick? With that big, beautiful, deep voice. He had a British face, dead now. He said to me one day, he said, you know, I always wanted to play Mike Hammer. And I said, you can't. He says, of course, he actually can play any place. He says, why not? I said, you have no hair. He said, oh, hair, you can buy hair anywhere. You know, which is true today. I know somebody pull that guy. Hey.
That's right. You can.
I killed it. With my age, and here I am with full head of hair, those white. Don't wear glasses.
No, that's right. I know. And you've got good vision.
I got 20/20. I don't know.
Come on.
I have. I still got my same vision. I've never changed.
That's amazing. Have you ever drawn a blank when you were preparing to write?
Oh man, I do that all the time. I can't keep everything in context anymore. I call it Eisenhower's disease, you know, not Alzheimer's. No, sometimes I just start losing things. I have to sit down and say, hey, what's my wife's name?
Oh no.
This is my wife. What's her name? You know.
That's right. That's right. You remember all the 6 cats, but
she does the same thing. You know, I can who you? You know.
Oh yeah.
But I find myself on that little raggedy edge as you get older. I told you, hey, 4 years from now I'll be 90. What am I going to do?
That's amazing, Mickey.
I feel good.
You said that yesterday, and that just blows my mind.
Well, you got to get old sooner or later. You know, what are you going to do?
Do most of the books, as you're wrapping up, always set the stage for the next one?
No, I don't write like a lot of people. I write from the ending. I got the ending, then I write up to it. That's the best part of the book. I get to the ending, it's already done. I've already written the ending out.
I think I saw in reading something, Mickey, that you'd made a wager with somebody about leaving out a word.
Let me tell you this story. There was an editor up there who I didn't like because he was a snotty son of a gun. He bet me about writing. I said I could write a book. I got braggers. I said I could write a book. And if I took the last word off the book, you would know what the whole thing was about. He said, it's impossible to do. So I made a $1,000 bet with him. I went home and I wrote this book, Vengeance is Mine, I think.
Right.
And I turned the manuscript in, but I didn't have the last word on it. He said, what's the last word? What's the word? I said, give me my money.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
And we had a bet, and it was written out too. And he had to give me a check for $1,000. And I thought, that was the first time I got him. Now the next time I got him was he said to me, he was such a good editor that I could not possibly put an error in my book that he couldn't find, a deliberate error. I said, heck, I couldn't. Now this guy lives in Jersey, goes back and forth across the George Washington Bridge twice a day. So I wrote the new book. He read it, and he says, ha-ha, he told me, you didn't put it, there's not a mistake in there. I said, oh, yes, there is. He said, no, there isn't. I says, take a look at where at the George Washington Bridge, I put where you pay your money, what do you call it?
Right, the toll.
The toll gate on the wrong side of the bridge. He goes through it twice a day, and he never even noticed that.
You are kidding.
I said, give me my money.
Golly, Mickey.
Well,
have you ever written anything into your pieces oftentimes we've heard there's some critics of your writing. Have you ever put anything in there to kind of highlight to critics that...
I've said things about, but not in the books, no. Some people ask me what I think about critics. I mean, they get their books free. They can't write. And all they can do is pick you apart. What got them really bad? And the New York Times has a book section there.
Right.
They have the 6 in a row, what do you call it, number 1, 2 on the bestseller list. Mm-hmm. And this day in the New York Times, I had all 6 of them. 6 of my books. Then along came Mario Puzo, and he knocked me off the top when he came out with The Godfather.
Right.
See?
Right.
Which that was good, but hey, I've been up there now for a little bit of time. This just destroyed the critics.
You had the top 6 books.
I had all 6 of them. See, I made copies of these things. I sent them to people who think, yeah, he's no good.
I think I saw in 1967 that between 1895 and 1965 that you had 7 of the 29 most printed. It was an incredible number.
What it was, I was reprinted. Well, this little old guy came to me one day and he said, What a terrible commentary on the reading habit of the American public to think that you have 7 out of the top 10 all-time bestsellers. I should look at it and write 3 more. And I did, and I had all 10.
Oh, Mickey.
Yeah. Well, you know, this is just, that's not a thing to brag about. It's just something that people are reading.
Right.
I happen to hit it at the right time. And the sales, now here's the big thing about those sales. See, the paperback market came out when I wrote Ida Jury. I knew this was coming out, and I was timing this for that particular book.
Right.
It came out, and it went right to the top, because for 25 cents, you got all the best reading material in the world.
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
There weren't that many books on the market. I remember when we used to have one little rack of books with maybe 20 titles on there. I hit that again.
No, you didn't.
Did he yell at me over there?
Oh, not yet.
Okay.
That's right.
But you can do that when you have the paper. Now you look at the bookstore, man, there's thousands of titles out there.
Right.
Now if you get on the top, you better be good.
Yeah, you got to be great. That's exactly right. There it is.
There's a new one. See, that's something down there.
Yeah. How long's that been out, Mickey? That came out last year.
A couple weeks ago.
Right. Is that right?
Yeah, not been that long. See, I'll set it up like that so the readers have a good look at that. Buy a dozen if you want.
All we can see it. That's right. Hold it up a little higher. Hold
there
it up.
I am with
my
right
God.
there. There's my big name. See that?
I love it. I love it.
Now,
what'd your parents think the first?
Who?
Your folks.
My parents?
When I, the Jury came out in
My
1940.
dad said to me, "Why don't you get a job like other guys?" He did. I says, "Dad," but my dad didn't. He never. My dad was a tavern keeper.
Is that right?
And he had no big education. Good Irish guy, you know, and as Irish as could be. I'm as Irish as Patty's Pig, you know. But and my mother was a very lovely Scots lady, very even-tempered and whatnot. Opposite of my dad.
Did you have brothers and sisters,
No,
Mickey?
I'm an only child. Can't you tell?
Well, you know, I'm the middle of 3, so I can't. Yeah, although my dad is, so maybe so. That's right. That's right.
My dad was a good Irish bartender. They're great psychiatrists too. Did you know that?
Huh.
I'm not a psychologist, psychiatrist. Yeah, those guys hear so many people at the bar. They're pouring out the story to the bartender, and they're telling the truth. The things they won't tell a doctor. And those guys bring that in, and they know these things. I've talked to a lot of them, and I know how they are.
Well, when it started selling, when I, the Jury, started selling, they must have wrapped around. Your dad probably calmed down a little bit.
No, my dad never did. He never could understand me anyway.
Really?
But the reason I wrote Ida Jury was I had just come out of the military. I'm living in Brooklyn with George Wilson, the artist. That we stayed together all this time. This is 50 years after the war. And we wanted to build a house up in Newburgh. We had no money. Now, he had $2,500. I had nothing. I've been in the comic book business. Now, I've been married for 6 months, I guess. And I'm paying my bills and all. I'm not broke. But, you know, comic books are... It's hard to think that you got $25 for a comic book story. And that was great. That was pretty good back in these days. It was 1946, 47, 48. But then we decided we wanted to build a house, and I needed to have $2,500. But $1,000 would do me fine if I could get that. And I told him, I said, I want $1,000 advance. At that time, I only gave me $250 for a mystery story. I held out, and I got the $1,000. We moved into a tent, lived up there in the country, built the house, had a cinder block, saw snow before we came out of the tent. It wasn't easy living, my friend, but I tell you, it was fun. And here we are. Look, I'm on TV shows. Hit that again.
I know. No, that's...
He's going to yell at me over there.
Oh, well, that's why he's the director. He gets to do that. But, and of course, no longer living in New York, living in Murrells Inlet, South
50
Carolina.
years of it.
Yeah.
When I moved down there, people say, you're going to move to that dump, Murrells Inlet? Who ever lived there? I said, that's what I like. Leave it alone. Now the place is
it's not overpopulated. You still got the little old ladies that you're
I
picking
don't
up.
even know where I am anymore. Go down 707, see what you see. Nothing but houses.
707's pretty crowded, yeah.
I remember there's only one house down this end and one house down that end by Soccer State. You know what's going to happen if you ever have a hurricane around here? When there's a big one, everybody's going to funnel into Soccer State and jam. Oh, wow.
We got to work on new roads, Mickey. Yeah.
Not me. I'm going to stay right at my house. When I built my house, it's built for the hurricane.
Is that right? You stayed in it through. Did you stay in there during Hugo?
Hugo wiped me out. I lost everything
no.
in Hugo. Sure, Jane and I were out in California at that time.
Is that right?
We came back to find it would look like Godzilla took a walk down the block.
What happened in the Jag? Was it there then?
No, my buddy who was fixing it, he's dead now. Over from Saucus, he came over with a flatbed truck, took my Jag out, and brought up the. There it was saved.
Did he really?
With the rest of the house.
Wow. So the house is new since '89.
Yeah. We went 100% over specs on that house.
Mm-hmm.
We wanted to make sure that next time there's a hurricane, I'm going to sit in the front porch and. I think Jane will sit with me. We've watched a couple of hurricanes go by already from sitting on a jogging board. We got one of those up there.
You're kidding.
Oh, man. You know what those things were for? That was what the mammies used to have when they had the babies around.
I hadn't thought of that.
That was Jane and me, and I put her on my lap and we jogged.
6 cats, that's right. Listen to that. Golly, Mickey. When you think about, you think about giving some inspiration to young writers or older writers or anyone who wants to write a book for the first time. I know you said you do some good critiquing. I mean,
I tell them how to do it.
Right.
I said, if you do it this way, you'll write a book that could be successful. I'm not going to say would be, I say could be, you know?
Right.
Because there's a lot of, I tell people to be a brain surgeon because it's a lot easier. I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
Writing is not an easy thing. You just don't sit down and write. You don't use a pencil and write, you know? Writing is a job. It's a profession. It's a business you're making money from. And the only way you're going to make money is to be good at it.
Mm-hmm.
There are thousands of writers, and they might make a few bucks here and there, but they're not living get all the bills paid and live in something nice.
Mm-hmm. You talked yesterday about how an author may write one book or just a couple, where a writer's writing a ton of books, putting stuff out. And
I'll give you an idea of an author as far as books are concerned. That would be Margaret Mitchell.
Mm-hmm.
They asked her, when are you going to write a sequel to Gone with the Wind? She says, never. It took me 10 years to write that one. I never want to write another one. 2 weeks later, a taxi driver ran her down with his cab in Atlanta, you know.
Oh.
But she never had a chance to do it either.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Speaking of that, I think I saw that you'd written Eye of the Jury. I don't know if we talked about it yesterday, in either 9 or 19 days. I mean,
I kind of think it was 9. I'm not sure.
You just
I can do that.
blew through that.
You know, you're working from early in the morning to late at night and going. You know what? It's not a. Yeah. It's an awful picking.
Yeah, that is a lot of.
I wore at the typewriter. I had beat up all L.C. Smith, and boy, you don't even see them except in an antique store.
Right.
But I wore that typewriter out right now. That was the only book I wrote on that particular typewriter. Mm-hmm. I paid $15 for it after the war.
Mickey, everyone asked about those Miller Lite ads. About that.
Great.
That was such a big time, and Miller Lite was through the roof then. I know they're doing well now, but
Miller Lite beer became the #1 beer in the entire world. I'll tell you about those ads. They were economically pleasant.
I'm sure that wasn't bad.
I still go through airports. People say, "Hey, where's the doll?"
Oh,
I said,
yeah.
look. She gets the same thing. I saw her that long ago when Jane and I were up in Jersey at a book signing, and she came down, and she's still got a very spectacular shape on her.
Oh, yeah.
And they were heading for Ireland. She and her husband were going to make a movie over there. I said, "It's a heck of a place to make a movie, but
yeah,
if you can make a buck, go ahead." You know?
Now, you didn't do much writing while you were doing those ads.
Heck, I didn't. I've never quit writing. I was writing for different areas, but.
Mm-hmm. So there's stuff. Do you put stuff like on the shelf, or wait for certain good times to bring stuff out?
No, I got a book almost it's 3/4 of the way finished now.
Right.
I'm going to write one more Mike Hammer book. And in this book, this is where Mike is going to marry Velda. Land, wow! Huh? So, but
wow.
I haven't developed a title for that book yet, but it's on the way. I got another one at home. It's 3/4 of the way done.
I think I saw you also did some children's writing.
I did too. I got the awards for the best children's book of the year. I forget the name of the award it was.
A literary guild thing. Mm-hmm.
And then some guy out in Hollywood took my 2 books, put them together, and made a movie out of it.
Is that right? Out of your children's book?
Yeah, they took the highlights of my stuff called The Goonies. You ever remember The Goonies? So you're probably a little too old to have seen that.
I think our director remembers The Goonies. Yeah. Lane was smiling.
But I'm looking at that. I was in a show with Jane, and I said, "Hey, they're using my stuff."
Yeah.
And they had confiscated great scenes that I had, put them in someday I'm going to see that movie. director out in Hollywood.
You better get out there.
Bring it to his attention.
Yeah. You said you're only 5'8", but I'm sure you pack a punch there.
I have to hit him with a stick.
Right.
No, you know the best thing, hit somebody with a banana stalk.
A banana stalk?
Oh, they're hard to find. I mean, boy, with their heavy enders out there. You hit somebody with a banana stalk, doesn't leave a mark on them. A boy should take their head off. This is what I get for living in Elizabeth, New Jersey, in the area I lived in. That was the only thing we had to fight with.
When you think of literary characters, Mickey, do any of them really stick out in your mind, real memorable ones? If you were to think of one. Ayn Rand, yeah.
You know what's funny? They just did a big thing, a big book on Ayn Rand. You know, she's a well-respected person. She was a great writer, but we were friends. And when they went through all her letters, they found all these letters from me, and she saved every one, and she even had copies of her own answers to me.
Oh, you're kidding.
And they called me up, and I didn't know that she did all this. And I know we were friends for years, you know. And they would say, Mickey Spillane and Ayn Rand, how would she ever know a person like Spillane?
Right, yeah.
And we'd go out to lunches and so I see her in New York, you know, with all the little disciples she had around. And we had some good times together like that. But they had this big thing, but they doggone people writing to me as if, how did you get to know Ayn Rand? And they have the emphasis of, how would anybody of your class get to meet somebody of that class? It was easy. It's nice knowing people like that.
Oh, Mickey, it was great hearing, and I'm glad you said Ayn Rand. That quote, Spillane gives me the feeling of hearing a military band in a public park. Those are I mean, to put that in your mind, a powerful piece.
She always loved my pictures of New York that I was writing about. Her favorite book was One Lonely Night. Nobody ever walks across a bridge on a night like this. Well, hardly nobody. That's a play on words, you know. But I had to know because it was supposed to be hardly anybody. That's you idiot. I said nobody ever walks across. Well, hardly nobody. You know. And then the book ends in the same way. But in the meantime, all these big pictures. I didn't know I wrote like that for Pete's sake. One day I read the book. I said, "Gee, that's good."
You said they're really planned words. I mean, you really.
Well, I did.
It's painstaking.
Yeah.
Yeah, at some level, you can move quick, write quickly, but those things are thoroughly thought out.
I speak the same way too, huh?
There were a couple of famous. I think I was reading about you down in the Keys, maybe something with Hemingway and.
Y'all Hemingway. He hated my guts.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, he wrote Blue Book magazine. He wrote a piece of Blue Book about me. Well, he was a real cool. Throw me out of the gun. Anyway, I'm doing a big TV show out in Chicago. And this is the days of black and white.
Right.
And this guy comes, I says, "Mickey, have you seen this piece that Hemingway wrote about you?" And I said, "Hemingway who?"
No.
I got back at it.
That was a heavy blow.
It wasn't bad, I won't say, but he didn't like me at all. I outsold him. That was he wasn't a writer. He was an author.
Right. And
authors hate writers, especially when writers outsell them.
Who are some writers you like now?
Oh, there's a lot of people I write. I forget names. They go out of my head.
Yeah.
I say, poor old Jane. This is my wife. What's her name? You know?
Oh, no.
But I'm sorry, Jane.
You still love her. That's right. You still love her.
We hug and
That's
kiss and all
right.
snuggly stuff, you know. But it's a strange way when you're writing. I don't know what I'm writing. My mind is maybe 4 pages ahead of what I'm putting down the typewriter.
Yeah, if you're typing, now do you ever dictate things
No,
so you don't
I
forget?
Can't dictate, no.
So this stays in your mind. I mean, the 4 pages ahead is still in your mind.
Did you ever see a typographer in the Navy? Were you ever in the Navy? You see these guys
wasn't
on the
in the Navy.
keys?
Yeah.
Now, here, they are like these guys, and I can't understand. Here's a guy at a bar playing a piano, and you come up to him, and you're talking to him, and he's still playing. See? I wonder how the heck can they do that? But the typographer, he'll be doing that. The keys will start clicking. Finally, he's talking to you, goes over, puts on a headset, goes over, and then he starts typing. No, he's typing what came on 10, 15 seconds ago. And I mean, that's the way I'm writing. My mind is way ahead of what I'm putting down over here. I don't forget it.
And even follow-up, sequels to pieces, hammer pieces are still in your mind. I mean, this new one where
I can quote things all over the place like that. I don't do it anymore. I recite poetry instead.
Is that right?
Sure, man. Want me to do Gunga Din for you?
That would be a little long. That's right. We've only got a couple of minutes.
That's what I mean. I knew that'd stop you.
That would do it. That would do it. What do you like most about Murrells Inlet, Mickey?
Well, I like it better the way it used to be. When I first moved there, they were dumping the sewer garbage right into the creek. We made them stop that. That wasn't nice for swimming, you know. But now, things, you know these little boats that go back and forth? They've destroyed the breeding habits of all the fish, the crabs, the clams, everything. But they do make one thing good about those little boats. They make great targets.
Oh, God, Mickey. That'll get you in some trouble. What prompted you to move?
I'm not going to shoot them. They make good targets.
That's right. Some of our viewers may turn you in, Mickey.
Well, tell them to get out of the creek. Go over the river. Go out in the ocean with those darn things. Mm-hmm. Stay away from in front of my house.
What prompted you to move to Murrells Inlet in the first place?
I found this place when I flew a P-51 from Newark, New Jersey, down to Sarasota, Florida, and way down. I'm an old lifeguard from the beaches in New York, and I went through high school and college, all up in that business. Mm-hmm. And I looked down one day, I come across Wilmington, and ahead of me I see this long strip of white. It's what they call now the Grand Strand. At that time, there was nothing down there but a beach. I said, look at the sign of that beach. So I open my map, and I see a air base right here. Uh-huh. I see the air base listed, and I said, hey, I'm going to land. I landed there, and I got a hold of the crew chief. I said, hey, can you place a room on my airplane? I can spend 3 days here. And there's no trouble. I think the paint is a little bit, it was a brand new airplane. Anyway, I stayed here for 3 days. I went out in the ASC rescue boats out fishing, caught a mess of fish. We had a good fish fry right down here in the inlet. Sat on the big sand. We had 20-foot dunes up and down the beach. It was fantastic. I said, I'm coming back here after the war, which I did. I come back for 3 vacations. And then I come back one day, and it was off-season, and that's when I bought my house. And I'm not going to tell you what I paid for it, but it was, I got a good buy.
That's right.
But anyway, I'm still here. We moved down right away. We're still here.
If you weren't Mickey Spillane, if you weren't Mickey Spillane, the writer, what do you think you'd be doing, Mickey? Where would you be?
I don't know. As long as I'm alive, that's what's important, staying alive and being happy. You know, I would hate to be. I've seen too many miserable people. I don't know why they're miserable, but I'm not miserable. I feel good. Jane kisses me once in a while. You know, I give her a big check. She passes me on the back.
Oh no! Oh no! You heard him say it. The words are simple: staying alive.
That's a big thing. That's a big. Staying alive and paying your bills. Well, don't owe any money.
And not owing any money, and loving his sweet wife Jane of the last 20+ years. We'll get him back in. Mickey, thanks so much for being with us this morning.
I'm glad to see you.
I'm
sorry I didn't let you talk too much, but
no, absolutely. That's the way it's supposed to be.
Is that the way? Okay,
that's the way it's supposed to be. Stay tuned to more Carolina People coming up next. Tough to thank one of the most translated writers in the world, but we want to thank Mickey Spillane and his amazing wife Jane for coming in and making today's Carolina People so special.